9টায় এই অনলাইন ক্লাস চলবে আনন্দবার্তা নিউজ চ্যানেল, আনন্দবার্তা ফেসবুক এবং আনন্দবার্তার ইউটিউব চ্যানেলে। তাই বার্ডওয়ান মডেল স্কুলের সকল ছাত্রছাত্রীকে সকাল 9টা থেকে এই অনলাইন ই-লার্নিং ক্লাস অ্যাটেন্ড করার জন্য আবেদন জানানো হচ্ছে।
Good morning students, welcome back to the online class of class 12 English. Today I am going to start with the second chapter from your poetry section of your English textbook, that is Flamingo. Okay, the chapter name is An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, written by Stephen Spender. So now we have to know about the poet. Stephen Spender was a poet and English essayist. Okay, and he had a keen interest in politics and he regarded himself as a pacifist or socialist. His work concentrated on the theme of social injustice and class inequalities. So today we are going to learn the chapter name. The poem is An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, written by Stephen Spender. So this poem gives a vivid description of the children who are belonging from a slum area. So the poet describes the social inequalities which are prevailing in our society. So I will give you a brief introduction to the lesson. So here the poet describes the condition of the children who are sitting in an elementary classroom which is situated in a slum area, and even the poet draws the attention of everyone towards this skill so that their life can be improved and they may get trained to become good citizens rather than criminals. So now I will give you the theme of the poem. The poet represents the theme of two different and compatible world. Okay, so theme of the poem. What is the theme? The poem represents the theme of two different and compatible world. What are the two different compatible world? The first world is of misery, poverty and malnutrition of the slum, where the children are underfed, they are thin and have stunted growth, and the another world is full of progress and prosperity that is ruled by important and rich people. So these are the two worlds. First world, world of misery, poverty and malnutrition, and the second world, world of progress and prosperity, that is ruled by rich and important people. So this world is actually the world of rich and powerful men. So the poet wanted to focus on social injustice and class inequalities that are prevailing in our society. So now I will explain the poem. far from gusty waves these children faces. So the poet gives a vivid description of the children who are sitting in an elementary school classroom which is situated in a slum area. Okay, so far from gusty waves, and this classroom and this situation is far away from the winds or waves blowing strongly. What is the meaning of gusty? Now I will write down all the word meanings. Gusty means strong. Note down all the word meanings and the important points. Gusty here means strong. Okay, so these children are far away from the winds or waves blowing strongly, and the faces of these children are pale, dull, and without having any energy. They are not having any energy, just like the children of their age, like rootless weeds. So the poet compared these children to rootless weeds. What is the meaning of rootless weeds? Rootless means unwanted plants. Okay, rootless weeds means unwanted plants. So the poet compared these children to unwanted plants. Why? Because these children seems to be unwanted, just like the plants which grow on the fields. The hair torn round their pallor. What is the meaning of pallor? Pallor means pale, dull face. Pallor means pale, dull face. Okay, so the hair are not neatly combed. The hair is not neatly combed, and it is falling on their face as if they are torn apart. The tall girl with her weighed down head. So the poet described another girl who is sitting in the classroom. The girl was tall and who seemed to be burdened by poverty. Her head bent down due to overburden of poverty, and because of tiredness or shame. Okay, the paper seeming boy. So the poet here used a metaphor. Okay, the boy, he described another boy who was very thin, just like as thin as a sheet of paper. That means the boy was very thin, weak, and hungry, with rat's eyes. Rat's eyes, the boy's eyes resemble of rat because it reflected greed, and the boy wanted to achieve everything. Okay, so paper seeming boy means as thin as sheet of paper. So the poet described the boy. The boy was very thin and he was as thin as a sheet of paper. And rat's eyes, it reflected greed. So the eyes of the boy, that boy, resemble of a rat, and it reflected greed, and he wanted to achieve everything at a time. The stunted, unlucky hair of twisted bones. Stunted means not fully grown. write down all the word meanings, note it down. It will be easier for you to understand the meaning of the lines. Stunted, means not fully grown. Here means successor. Twisted bones, refer to deformed body. Or you can say physically disabled. Physically disabled. And reciting a father's gnarled disease, grand means rough. Okay, so the poet described another boy who was not fully grown, and he is referred to as unlucky because he had inherited his father's disease, due to which he had a deformed body. Okay, so instead of getting something good from his father, he had received his father's disease in heritage, his lesson from his text. And that boy who had a deformed body, he is physically disabled. He was sitting in that class, he was sitting in the bench while reciting his lesson. At back of the dean class, one unnoted sweet young. So a sweet young boy was sitting at the dark area of the classroom, and he was unnoticed. His eyes live in dream. So his eyes are bright and her eyes are full of dream. The boy seemed to be hopeful. He dreams of a better future, of squirrel game in tree room other than this. He was not paying attention to the class and he was dreaming to play the game with the squirrel in the tree house. Okay, so this is the explanation of the first stanza, and here the poet describes different students who are sitting in the classroom, who are deprived, who are just poor, and they are described by the poet. Okay, and from this stanza we can find different types of poetic devices used by the poet. So what are the poetic devices used by the poet? In the first line you can see far, 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 far. It is a part of repetition. The poet has used the poetic device repetition to stress on the distance. Next, like rootless weeds, like rootless weeds. Children are compared to rootless weeds. This is an example of simile. Okay, and then paper seeming boy. Paper seeming boy, it is a metaphor. Why? Because the boy was very thin and he is compared to a sheet of paper. So I am writing down all the poetic devices used in the first stanza. What are the poetic devices used in first stanza? Far, far. From gusty webs. example of repetition, used to stress on the distance. Okay, next is paper singing boy. This is the first poetic device used. Next is, you can write like loose rootless weeds, like rootless weeds. This is an example of simile. Okay, simile is the comparison of two things used by as or like. Okay, and next one is paper singing boy. This is an example of metaphor. It is a direct comparison of two things without the use of like or as. So these are the poetic device that we can find in the fourth stanza. So here in this first stanza, the poet gives a vivid description about the children who are sitting in the classroom, elementary school classroom in a slum area. Our sour cream walls, donations. Our sour creams walls. So the poet here describes the walls of the classrooms. The walls are of white color, just like the color of the sour cream, and this color suggests decaying aspect and the pathetic condition of the children who are sitting in the classroom. And these walls are not clean and they have not been freshly painted. Donations. So this sour cream walls is an example of metaphor. And donations, the walls are covered with images, pictures, wall maps, charts, and these are donated by different people to the school. Donations means things received in charity. Word meanings. This is from second stanza. Word meanings of second stanza. Donations, things received in charity. Okay, so the poet describes the walls of the classroom. It is unclean and they have not been freshly painted, and this color of the classroom is off-white. It suggests a decaying aspect and the pathetic condition of the children in the slum, and the walls in the classroom are covered with images, charts, okay, picture, world map, and these things is received in charity, and these things are donated by different people. Shakespeare head. There is a picture of Shakespeare. Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome, riding all cities. So there is a picture of Shakespeare. Shakespeare's head is bald and it seems to be like the sun rising at the horizon. Cloudless at dawn, civilized dome, riding all the cities. And this sun which is rising, and this seems to be behind all the cities, which is rising at the daybreak. So this picture this picture of Shakespeare is suggesting happiness, well-being, which is a stark contrast to the dull and dim life of the slum. Build flowery trellis valley. So again there is a picture of Trellis Valley. What is Trellis Valley? Trellis Valley is an ice-free valley of Austria, okay, which has full of flowers. It's very beautiful, and the poet here used an allusion. What is the meaning of allusion? Allusion means reference to well-known places or person. Okay, first there is a picture of Shakespeare, and Shakespeare's head is bald, and it just look like the sun which is rising at the horizon. The sun seems to be like dome shape, just like spherical in shape when it is rising at the horizon, and it seems to be behind all the cities. And there is again a picture, there is also a picture on the wall of that classroom. There is a picture of Trellis Valley, and this is, I have already repeating, this valley is a ice-free valley, a beautiful flowery valley in Austria. So this picture of Shakespeare, picture of Trellis Valley, then we will get the map, chart. So this picture on the wall suggests happiness, richness, well-being, and this is a stark contrast to the dim and dull life of the slum. Open-handed map. Open-handed map means the map is drawn by the important and powerful people, awarding the world its world. This means the conquerors, the dictators of the world, what they had done, they had just divided the world according to their whims. So this world map which helps all in its own way. So open-handed map. Next I am writing Trellis Valley and open-handed map. Trellis Valley, a beautiful ice-free valley in Austria. Next, open-handed map. Open-handed map, the world map was drawn by important people at their will. Like the dictator. Next, awarding the world its world. Awarding the world its world. It means the conquerors or dictators divided the world according to their whims. According to their whims. Okay, so this world map which helps all in its own way. And yet for these children, these windows, not this map their world. So these children are limited to the windows of the classroom. Their life is within the narrow streets of slum. Okay, they are confined to the narrow streets of slum. But for these children, the map of world is fully irrelevant. Why? Because the slum where they are living is fully different from what is shown in the map, and their world is only what they see outside of the window of the classroom, their slum, where all their futures painted with a fog. So their futures painted with a fog means their future is full of darkness, their future is uncertain and bleak. Why? Because they do not get the basic necessities of life. They are deprived of food, shelter and clothing. They are not getting the freedom of life. So their life, the future is bleak and uncertain. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Okay, sealed means shut, lead here means dark future of these children. Shield here means shut. Lead means refers to dark future of these kids who are living in the slum. Okay, so their life is confined to a narrow street. Okay, so their life is confined to a narrow street which is shut within, which is shut in with a dark future. This means they will not get the freedom, and the street, the narrow street, the poet describe their life to a narrow street. Why? Because there is no wide scope for their future growth, and they are far away from rivers, capes and stars of world. This means these children are far away from the radiant light of knowledge and education. Okay, capes means a large piece of land that strikes out from the sea. It's a part of nature. A large piece of land that strikes out into the sea. The poet described different objects of nature, and he wanted to focus that these children, their life is compared to a narrow street where their life is shut in with the dark future. There is no wide scope for them for their future growth, and these children are far away from the radiant light of knowledge and education. So now we will see what are the poetic devices used in the second stanza. First is on sour cream walls. I have given the explanation. Now I will write down what are the poetic devices used by the poet in the second stanza to create a poetic effect. Poetic devices, second stanza. First is this is an example of metaphor. Our sour cream Worlds. Why it is a metaphor? Because this is a comparison of two things without the use of like or as, and direct comparison, and the world is compared, the worlds are very unclean and it is compared to the color of just cream like color, that is off white, because they are unclean and they need to be freshly cleaned and painted. Next is allusion. Allusion, already I have told you that this is a reference to well-known person or place. There are two allusions. One is Shakespeare's head, Shakespeare's head, and the next one is Chalice Valley. This is the name of a person, this is the name of a place. Chalice Valley. These are reference to allusion. What is the meaning of allusion? I am writing down a reference to well-known person or place. Next metaphor is narrow street. A narrow street. Why it is a metaphor? Because the poet draws a comparison to the life of the children in slum area, the life of the children in the slum area with the narrow street. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example. Okay, so the poet feels that these children faces hardship so much in their life that they did not like anyone, and they think that everyone is to be their enemy. For them, Shakespeare is wicked, Shakespeare is an evil man, and even the map, they don't find the map to be a good thing. So the map a bad example, with sheep and sun and love tempting them to steal. So this picture of sheep, sun and love pursued the desire of being loved by others. Okay, so they are not loved or liked by anyone. For leaves that slyly turn in their cramped holes, and they are confined to cramped holes. Cramped means confined. Cramped means confined. So they are confined in their small huts, just like the rodents, from fog to endless night, and their life is going towards endless night. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel. So these children are so thin that their bones are visible from the layer of skin, and they are suffering from malnutrition. And spectacles of steel with mended glass, they were wearing cheap and uncomfortable spectacles, and these spectacles are made up of steel, and the lenses of these spectacles are made with repaired glass, like bottles of beads on stone. So these spectacles look like which have been repaired with a piece of glass. So like bottles, bits of stone, this is an example of simile. So the spectacles is compared with the little bottle, like bottle bits of stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their maps with slums as big as doom. Blot means to mark with a spot, and doom means disaster. to mark with spot. Next, doom means disaster. Okay, so this slum is, day by day this slum is getting bigger and bigger, and they are having a dark future. Their future is being destroyed and they could not come out from this situation. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that sat upon their lives like catacombs. So the poet urges the governor and other public to change the life of the kids and make the world map a reality for them. He also urges this public or the important people to help these kids to achieve their dream. This map becomes their window, and these windows that sat upon their lives like catacombs. Catacomb means tombs. Okay, so their lives are shut in the tombs. They will take them away from darkness of their present to bright future. So break, break, oh break, open till they break the town. So the poet urges this public or this important people to break the disparities, the chains of this slum children, so that they can come out from their problem, and sow the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands. So the poet wanted that these children should also get the experience of gold sands, and along with the beauty of nature, they will, then this will take them from darkness of their present to bright future. He wants that the kids should experience the sands of beauty of nature. This will lead to desire of gain of knowledge. And let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open. So these white and green leaves, these white leaves refer to books and the green leaves refer to nature. This is also an example of metaphor. Open history theirs whose language is the sun. So this will then in the progress, and they will be able to paint a bright future for themselves. So in this stanza we can find the metaphor, the white and green leaves. This is an example of metaphor, and the white leaves indicates books and the green leaves indicate nature. So in this poem we have seen the social inequality, the social injustice and class inequalities that is presented in the poem by the poet. I hope you have understood the lesson. Thank you very much.
করোনার জেরে লকডাউন, আর এই লকডাউনের জেরে বন্ধ সমস্ত স্কুল, কলেজ সহ শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠান। ছাত্রদের কথা ভেবে, ছাত্রদের ভবিষ্যতের কথা ভেবে বাডওয়ান মডেল স্কুল শুরু করতে চলেছে অনলাইনে ই-লার্নিং ক্লাস। এই অনলাইন ক্লাস শুরু হচ্ছে সকাল 9টা থেকে। প্রতিদিন সকাল 9টায় এই অনলাইন ক্লাস চলবে আনন্দবার্তা নিউজ চ্যানেল, আনন্দবার্তা ফেসবুক এবং আনন্দবার্তার ইউটিউব চ্যানেলে। তাই বাডওয়ান মডেল স্কুলের সকল ছাত্রছাত্রীকে সকাল 9টা থেকে এই অনলাইন ই-লার্নিং ক্লাস অ্যাটেন্ড করার জন্য আবেদন জানানো হচ্ছে। এছাড়াও পাচ্ছেন হ্যাভেলস, ক্রপটন, পোলার, সিনি, উষা, ফিনোলেক্স সহ বিভিন্ন নামি দামি কোম্পানির স্ট্যান্ড ফ্যান ও সিলিং ফ্যান। এছাড়াও পাচ্ছেন ডিজে লাইট,